It is unprecedented. Bernie Sanders won more states and more delegates than Hillary, but the superdelegates just met with the Associated Press the day before the California primary and these other 5 states and just decided to give it all to Hillary. And even the New York Daily News, extremely liberal, came out and said this is election fraud. This has been stolen. The Republicans tried to do this with Trump but had to back down, at least so far. They tried to sell the idea, of course your vote doesn't count, but with Hillary, it's worked. But now they're saying the Bernie people are terrorists and are evil, and the Associated Press is warning their reporters to look out for the Bernie people because the AP up at the top with Voter News Services under a new name runs the show. So they've got to be watched very closely in the general election going up against Trump. They're now selling the idea that he's going to lose and lose big time so that when they steal the election, we accept it. But Roger Stone and I and many others understood what was happening a year ago and began to beat the drum that they'd try to steal it with the broker convention. People said that would never happen. They tried it. They've backed off. You have to first admit something's happening, like there's Bilderberg meeting. Oh, nothing like that exists. I had the New York Times 8 years ago say that it didn't exist, and that I was in Virginia, and that I was mentally ill and was schizophrenic, and that I wasn't being followed by black sedans and wasn't thrown out of the hotel, even though it was all on tape. 8 years later, they got to admit it's real. They still say we're crazy for covering it. I want to play a short clip and then go to Roger Stone, who wasn't even scheduled today, but I saw a late-night tweet from like 2 in the morning. I was up, hit him back and said, yeah. And he said, well, there's a lot of intrigue. And so, yes, I'll pop in. He's going to pop in for just like 10 minutes. But first, I've got to start getting to these Donald Trump clips. Trump blast Hillary and rigged system. This is how he'll defeat him. Exposing they plan to steal it now is the only way, folks. He's going to destroy her in the debates, you name it, in my view. We'll ask Stone. We haven't talked yet. I don't know if he thinks my view's accurate, but we'll talk to him in a moment and get the, quote, heavy intrigue in New York or what the big news is. I don't know yet either. But first, let's go to the short clip.
There's one thing we all have learned. We can't fix the rigged system by relying on and I mean this so strongly, on the very people who rigged it. And they rigged it, and do not ever think anything differently. We can't solve our problems by counting on the politicians who created our problems. The Clintons have turned the politics of personal enrichment into an art form for themselves. They've made hundreds of millions of dollars selling access, selling favors, selling government contracts, and I mean hundreds of millions of dollars. Secretary Clinton even did all of the work on a totally illegal private server. Something that how she's getting away with this, folks, nobody understands. Designed to keep her corrupt dealings out of the public record, putting the security of the entire country at risk, and a president in a corrupt system is totally protecting her. Not right. I am going to give a major speech on probably Monday of next week, and we're going to be discussing all of the things that have taken place with the Clintons. I think you're going to find it very informative and very
That's right, they're creating a master dossier. I know that's separate from Stone. From the Inquirer and Larry Nichols. And others.
I wonder if the press will want to attend. Who knows?
I love this guy. He's for real.
Hillary Clinton turned the State Department into a private hedge fund. The Russians, the Saudis, the Chinese all gave money to Bill and Hillary and got favorable treatment in return. It's a sad day in America when foreign governments with deep pockets have more influence in our own country than our great citizens.
This man did this as he won the historic primaries and got more votes than any Republican ever has. This is unprecedented. Believe me, he would not be working for them as a shill and saying this because this damage to them is irrevocable. He is risking his life, and I have never seen gigantic elephant huevos anywhere near this size by somebody at this level. This is true manliness. Even though he's not perfect, I don't care. I'm all in for Donald Trump. I admire this guy. I tentatively started supporting him a year ago because I knew Hillary was pure evil. I'm so proud I made the right choice. My gut said do it. Don't just sit back and, oh, both are bad and, you know, act like I'm all high and mighty. I am all in. But I'm telling you, folks, it is a death battle. This is so hardcore. Roger Stone, the latest, just bang, bam, bam. And I got a lot to talk about. What to expect next, where we're going, what the real numbers are. The Sanders people, they just got robbed. They admit that. Even a lot of liberal media is admitting it. How does Trump reach out and say, look, they're trying to steal it from me and him? Come to the guy the establishment hates, Goldman Sachs, the big money. They're all against me. Don't be idiots. Hillary's a fascist warmonger. Roger Stone, what do we do?
Well, first of all, Alex, pardon me if I have kind of a Cheshire grin over that performance by Trump, but I'm really happy because he's back on offense. He is breaking through because the mainstream media coverage, even of the Clinton financial crimes, has been inadequate, with the one exception of the New York Times, which has been exceptional. The mainstream media has been disinterested in the biggest two thieves since Bonnie and Clyde. And Trump is going to lay this out chapter and verse for the American people. It is one of Hillary's greatest vulnerabilities. It goes beyond just greed, and that's the issue. I think that's the key word, the epic greed of the Clintons. They've also put our national interests at risk, selling nuclear secrets, or pardon me, military secrets.
Delivery systems.
To the Chinese through L'Oreal, in this case, trading millions of dollars with the Russians and the Chinese and the Saudis, as Trump said. So I was very glad to see Trump pivot. I think Trump University is behind us. Now, even that is an outrage, because I now know more than the last time I was with you, Alex. Laureate education is a multi-billion-dollar Wall Street scam in which Bill took $16 million in fees. We don't know what he took in stock options because it's never been disclosed. And shortly thereafter, Hillary laid $150 million in federal money on Laureate Education, a failing chain of schools.
Sure. I mean, their program is to be totally criminal to a level where they're interconnected so they can never go down. His Skype just went down, so that's why I'm interrupting here. And ladies and gentlemen, this is just so over the top. Our audience knows about all this corruption, though. And then we now know what I said weeks ago has been confirmed. The judge has connected all these La Raza groups, heads some of them up. The media thinks you're so dumb. They go, oh, the La Raza Lawyer Guild has no connection to La Raza. It runs it. It created it. And again, hey, white supremacists want to be in those groups. Mexican supremacists want to be in these groups. The white supremacists think their group's good, too. People in La Raza think they're good. Folks have to stand up against this. We're going to get his Skype reconnected. We're getting back on phone. You want to go? His number right here. We can just call him right now. And I know you don't have to even pull it out of the computer. We can just do it that way. But I want to talk about exactly. I know Stone's been advising Trump to be more aggressive. I know Trump's creating dossiers. That's what Nichols wanted to talk about yesterday. He's talking to him. They're vetting everything to really go whole hog against the Clintons. And I would go after them on Fast and Furious because they act like she's not involved in that. She ran that out of the State Department. And that's what Fast and Furious really was arms to al-Qaeda and ISIS. And that's how Benghazi and Fast and Furious, with the Mexican gun running from the U.S. into Mexico, that's how they connect, because the gun running was only a cover to blame the Second Amendment, but that was an overall cover for a larger mission that was to get guns to al-Qaeda and ISIS, which is anything the globalists do, always has these multi-facets. I'll call him. We've got Stone is back on phone. Okay, we have him back. Roger, good to have you back with us, my friend. Go ahead.
So, Alex, I would confess to be exhausted. As you know, I got to New York earlier this week. So I really think that that this new initiative by Trump puts him on offense, because this race is not about Donald Trump. He hasn't been running the country for 30 years, and he hasn't been running it as a continuation. So this is a referendum on Hillary. It must be. There are two, I think, cornerstones in this fight. Two books that every American needs to read. One is Clinton Cash by Peter Schweitzer, which is a masterpiece showing how the Clintons are epically greedy and how they have gamed the system to line their pockets. And then, of course, there's the Clintons' War on Women, which outlines Hillary's epic abuse of Bill's sexual assault victims.
And that's your book available at InfoWarsStore.com. Let me just digress with my questions, because I know you're way above me politically and understanding all this, but from a lay perspective, I have the New York Daily News, Politico, and others admitting that Hillary stole this from Sanders and he was the real guy and the superdelegates robbed him. Don't we make a big deal out of that and reach out to the third of the Sanders people that you talked about who aren't total communist idiots and say, come on, go for Trump? Isn't that the big drive? If Trump came out and said, hey, Sanders got robbed, they're trying to rob me, go with me?
He actually said it last night. I think the exact quote is, to those Bernie Sanders systems who believe the nomination was rigged by superdelegates, we welcome you with open arms. Now, he said this right after he made the point that both he and Sanders oppose the globalist trade deals like NAFTA and TPP that have destroyed the American job market. And we know that he and Bernie Sanders are both non-interventionists, not neocons, as Hillary Clinton is. So I think there's a real opportunity there. That is why the Soros crowd is trying to smear Trump as a bigot and a racist, because those left-leaning votes will go to Trump if they don't disqualify Trump by smearing him.
Man, I just hope some of the liberals aren't idiots. I mean, how obvious is this, that the whole power structure hates Trump?
Well, look, there was a lot of piling on last week because we got sidetracked in the ridiculousness of the Trump University case. This is a political case. This is a peanut compared to the multi-million-dollar theft in the for-profit education.
And so Trump only took the bait in that he debated that instead of ignoring it and moving on. Even though he's right about the judge, it's a side trail.
He's right about the entire thing, but I am of the theory that anytime Trump is not talking about Hillary Clinton's failed record, her abuse of women, or her corruption, or her incompetence, or her lying, and that he isn't talking about trade and immigration and our ridiculous fiscal situation and our broken...
I totally agree. So let me try to influence Trump right now, because I know, obviously he has his people out there watching talk to him. My listeners talk to him. You talk to him. I've talked to him before here on air. What about the fact that I see him talk about Benghazi, but not Fast and Furious? She ran that through the State Department. That was really gun running to Mexico. This has been proven now. Judicial Watch proved it. We had it before it was even in Judicial Watch. And guns are being sent to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. I think he should tie Benghazi and that together, and then she's done. Once you tie it to that, that ties the guns in, her coming after the guns, with giving guns to Al-Qaeda. She sent guns to Al-Qaeda and ISIS while trying to get our guns. I mean, boom. I think that's a great idea.
Well, I agree with Alex. It's only June. And we have a long campaign ahead of us. It's not like there is a lack of material when it comes to the incompetence or the treachery of the Clintons. Or these issues will be spelled out one by one.
Sure. Let's talk about some private stuff. What a tiger you are. I was there when you got the word that your mom wasn't probably going to make it. Was about to go on morphine, and you said this will be the last time I probably talked to her. You went and talked to her, and then sure enough, you were right about that. And here you are still fighting hard. It's funny, we usually wear suits or sports jackets. I'm wearing a blue shirt. You're wearing a blue shirt today when you were on the show on Skype. So I guess you're kind of in battle mode, but kind of relaxing a little bit. So I know you've been through a lot, my friend.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Alex, and everybody there at InfoWars for the beautiful flowers you sent in honor of my mother.
You bet.
If you knew Olivia Soprano, you knew my mother. Tough, Sicilian, opinionated, determined, a patriot, and the saddest thing about her passing is it will be one less vote for Donald Trump. So we miss her, but she went down fighting, and I thank the literally thousands of people from InfoWars or from Twitter or from Facebook who sent me their condolences. It has meant a great deal to Mrs. Stone and I. So,
sure, you didn't really make it public. I kind of did without your permission, so I'm sorry if that was a problem. But I just want to talk about behind the scenes. You talking to your mom for the last time and then coming in here and doing those interviews on Saturday. Well,
the truth is, Alex, when I'm writing, I don't wear a suit. I know a lot of people think I wear a suit to bed, that I wear a suit every day. But and now I am working on a number of issue memos, and I've written a terrific piece on Huma Abedin for Breitbart, which will be posted momentarily.
Oh, Hillary's girlfriend?
Well, I'm more concerned about the fact that...
The Muslim connection?
Yeah, she's seen all of the...
Yeah, I don't care if Hillary's got 2 or 3 girlfriends. The issue is this woman works for Iran, basically, right?
Well, I think she works for the Saudis. And one of the things that I learned was that prior to her either hooking up with the Clintons, she buys a very expensive home in the Washington suburbs, and the handbags that she's carrying go for about $1,500 a piece. Her parents are academics. She has an enormous amount of money, which is a trademark of a spy, interestingly enough. She edits radical Muslim journals in college. Her family is tied to groups that are tied to bin Laden. I lay it all out for Breitbart. Now, the last person to do this was a reporter at Vanity Fair. Of course, he was savagely attacked by Media Matters for America. I found the Media Matters for America piece on Huma. 22 lies, falsehoods, complete obfuscations of the truth. So I think it should be untruthfulness matters for the folks over at MMFA.
Sure, I knew she was connected to the Saudis, but also to the Iranians. I mean, this lady just is off the chart, I mean, as a spy. I mean, the evidence pointing towards it. And then Hillary accidentally for years with this server saying put secret stuff. She knows everything she's doing is being watched. It sounds to me like it's instead of dropping the package under the park seat to the Russians or the Chinese or everybody, she just does it openly on the damn server and then gets money in her foundation.
The biggest problem, though, is that, or one of the most notable things, is that Huma is the only person in the State Department to receive a special waiver that allowed her to not only get a full-time salary at state at the highest level, but also to be paid by Teneo Strategies, the same place where Ed Rollins, who claims he's running a pro-Trump super PAC, works, at a Clinton-connected lobbying entity, while she's triple-dipping at the Clinton Foundation. At the same time, she and Cheryl Mills are the two women who go through all of Hillary's emails and decide what we can see and what we can't see. Now, since we know that there's classified and top secret information in the emails, Huma, who's most likely a spy for a foreign government, has had full access to all that classified material. As an American, I find that troubling.
Well, I'm just speechless at this point, Roger Stone. How is the power elite? I know there's different elites and different combines, but they all meet, you know, like the mafia and decide which way to go, and sometimes have wars if they don't. How do the Clintons just get away with anything and everything and so flagrant? She looks completely insane on television. She has more baggage than a baggage train, more skeletons than the biggest mausoleum on the earth, than the catacombs of Rome. I mean, I just don't get it. They're going to really put this woman in for 4 to 8 years who literally beats up men and chews the carpet. She's so hateful. And she looks like she's about to die. I mean, what is the elite thinking? What does she have on them?
Well, I think that they unfortunately are trapped in the past. It was definitely much easier to conceal their crimes and what they were really like as people when we only had 3 television networks and a handful of national newspapers, the good old 80s. So if the Washington Post caught on to their corruption or heard from a Secret Service agent that Hillary had thrown a marble ashtray at Bill and grazed his cheek, that story could be suppressed. Today, those stories can't be suppressed. And I just don't think the Clintons understood that we are now going to re-adjudicate all of their greatest hits. Travelgate, Vince Foster, Filegate, the Mark Rich pardons, Monica Lewinsky.
Fast and Furious. Obamacare was her brainchild. Everything is her. Everything. This woman squatting on us.
Libya, Benghazi, but the overthrow of Gaddafi and the fact that women in Libya have been put back 200 years.
Sure. You're here. Listen. You're here covering topics and info. You know, my audience is one of the most informed out there, but they love hearing the facts to be able to tell others. But they know it. What about a little bit of, not inside baseball, but Trump looks totally energized. The courage he's got, he's super smart. The gloves are off. There's bare knuckles on now. I know you are in New York. I mean, this is just an amazing time. What else can you tell us just about this phenomenon and where it's going and other tidbits?
Well, as we've discussed on the show a number of times, Trump used a communications-based strategy to win the nomination, and it turned out to be brilliant. The campaign is now struggling to build the kind of organization, guerrilla as it may be, to contend. But we are late in some areas. For example, coalition building. Greeks for Trump, dentists for Trump, lawyers for Trump, airline pilots for Trump, Irish Americans for Trump, evangelical Christians
Latinos for Trump.
Latinos for Trump. These groups, there's so much grassroots enthusiasm. In many cases, when activists just couldn't wait for the campaign anymore to name a coordinator and put it together, they've gone out to do it themselves. There is a very broad-reaching Women for Trump organization in the works. So we are getting the grassroots late. When I say we, the Trump supporters. But I think the campaign is making strides finally to get organized.
Sure. What a tragedy to have Hillary supposedly representing the ascension of women. I mean, what a joke. This is horrible. I wouldn't want her representing me.
Yeah, as I said the other day, glass ceiling my ass. This woman is privileged. She is abusive. She is a domestic violator. She is.
She's been running the country pretty much for 20 years. We've been living under her policies.
But she lectures us about domestic violence. She lectures us against violence against women and rape when she's a domestic violator, when she has kicked, punched, scratched, and thrown things at Bill and multiple Secret Service agents, not
Sure,
one.
it's all coming out. So let me ask you this. Two quick ones. I want to let you go, and I appreciate your time. Can you get into any of the intrigue in New York, or is that all inside campaign stuff?
Well, what I refer to is the many moving pieces it takes for a monolith like this to shift. And Trump moved off of the Trump University issue and on to this offensive issue at a key time. Alex, I have to go, so I appreciate being with you.
All right, thank you, Roger Stone. Roger Stone at stonezone.com. Talk to you soon. Yeah, he was only supposed to be on for like 10 minutes. You hear the next call coming in. I tell you, that guy is a maniac. He works like 18 hours a day. No wonder he's been out there for so long. And he's been a pretty big insider, but for 15 years, he's been exposing the New World Order. And I like Roger Stone. He's a friend of mine now. I really like him. You know, I'm kind of bored hanging out with most people. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to all parties, or even Hollywood stuff's boring. But characters like Roger Stone, that's interesting. Wow. We've got a bunch of other guests coming up and a bunch of news and a bunch of Donald Trump clips I haven't gotten to. They just get better and better. But before I tell you what's coming up next, our reporters, obviously, that witnessed what happened out in California and more. Just briefly, Hillary for President shirts. We had one variant that also helps fund the whole show, so it's a win-win, that I said was going to be a collector's item, and it was. So we stopped making that one and made some changes to it because it was so popular. When this new variant sells out, we have a limited amount. It's a 4.9 star review, men and women style shirt, unisex. We will come out with a new version that is pretty much the same, just has on the right arm, Infowars.com. So when this sells out, it's gone. I've told the crew we're not making this anymore. A new design is coming out. It's pretty much the same. It just says Infowars.com on the right shoulder in red. And on the back, it says Legalize Freedom, Infowars.com in white. I'm going to have that changed to white. And on the arm, it's going to be red. And that is the rest of the story. If you want to support the broadcast and get a great shirt to meet like-minded people and go to different rallies and stuff, this is the shirt. I'm wearing it today. Infowarsstore.com. This version says Hillary for President 2016 till the end of time. You can also call toll-free if you'd like the shirt to give it to your grandchildren, your husband, your wife, your boss, your crew, your coworkers, your neighbors. 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. And Ancient Defense is back in stock, a great product that we have. And then also Living Defense, and that's something we've been out of for almost 5-6 months. We only had it in once. It's got so many ingredients, and to have the highest quality, have it test totally clean and pure. We just can't make stuff sometimes really at the highest standards. That's how this works. The planet's so contaminated. It's so expensive to test these, but it should be like $80. It's $34.95. Oh, I forgot to add it's a discount. It's a huge bottle. In fact, I asked them to bring me a bottle earlier. Could somebody bring me a bottle so I can wave it around maybe? Yeah, well, c'est la vie, whatever. Again, I'm like in Hitler's bunker here. Great crew, just not enough people. So Living Defense, available at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com. Takes you right to the subpage. It is a big bottle with a whole bunch of caplets in it. And I just want to encourage everyone to go to InfoWarsStore.com And bottom line, this will kick out the parasites, you name it. It's so good for you. It supports the broadcast, so you can't lose. And, of course, you can cut to me here with a wide shot for TV viewers. Has 120 capsules. They're horse pills. A dietary supplement. It's in powder form for better absorption. And it's to knock out harmful organisms, harmful organism cleansing. And it is just an amazing product. I never knew it would be our per capita bestseller. We only had it in once, sold out in 2 days, and now it's back. And I just have really tried to ramp up production, but who knows? Bottom line, support the broadcast, support your own health, knock out those bad guys. We got, Hillary is the parasite, George Soros, but those are the big giant ones. Well, we also have the little teensy-weensy little baby ones, in there having a good time. And all other organisms, deer go up and eat certain plants that help them get detoxified. It's available at InfoWarsLife.com.
If I was just gonna attach an idea to it, it's gonna be dangerous freedom.